Okay, I want to show the skirt with gathered waist, but to do that, I'm just going to start off with, these are the same slopers that we had traced for the added flare. So again, the difference here is we still want to add a smidge more fullness at our hemline, and then we'll work to fan out from the waist. Oops. Okay, so it's kind of same rule as earlier. We want these panels to be the same size and width. So for me, it was 1/2 inch on a 1/4 size scale. That little line there. And again, we're going to pivot from the waist for this first step. So you'll want to cut from hem up. Just going to tape this in place for a moment. So same rule of thumb here, I'm only pivoting from the waist to then give that equal distance that I've got between all other panels, which for me is 1 1/4 inches. Make this lay flat here. Okay, so our bottom is now defined. To then reach the ratio we want at the top. Make sure that's stable. We now want to cut through everything we had taped earlier at the waist. So when figuring, this is going to fight me a little bit. Peel off some of these pieces. But like what I was saying, when you're figuring your ratio of gathers at your waist, there's a whole bunch of different ratios you can use. So 1 to 1.5 may be very popular for inexpensive garments. Something you'd buy at Forever 21, or I guess in today's world, Shein, or however it's pronounced. But we want to stay away from that for this demo. 2-2.5 ratio is among average. Anywhere from 3 to 4 is going to be chiffons, lightweight fabric, something like that. I'm going to do a 3 for my ratio. So I want these to stay right where I have them. Okay. It's like you kind of have to create like a pivot point axis at the bottom only. Scooch this down too. Okay. I'll just put that there, but I'm gonna peel it off. Okay, this way we're mobile and we can pivot from the bottom fan. So I'm gonna do a 3 to 1 ratio. So I already know that my waist here measures 2 inches. So if you want to know what your spacing between these now 5 panels are, you'll have 4 different gaps here. So that's what we wanna spread that ratio within. So I know that this measures 2 inches. So you want to multiply that by 2. So that gives me 4 inches to play with. And then I want to divide that 4-inch measurement by the 4 gaps that I want to gain within the waist. So pretty easy math there. We want 1 inch between each panel at the waist. I'm going to start dead center. And remember that's, you want that to be within the gap space. So I'm going to be measuring this from edge to edge. So let's stick this in place here. And we'll do Come on, buddy. An inch here. So again, that's between the edge of each panel. And I said we were doing the 3-to-1 ratio. So that third ratio is actually coming from the waist that already exists. And that's another reason why we're measuring edge to edge, because we do want to keep this in our equation. Okay, so another pivot, we're going to do our center front here. So again, that's going to be 1 inch. This guy's slipping a bit. Okay. One inch edge to edge here. And then last but not least, this may extend past your paper, and that's fine, this isn't final. So here's our center front. Our side seam. And same as what we've done on all of our other flared variations. We do want to extend this side seam out by half, which is at 5/8 here, up to our new waist seam. I'll mark this with a highlighter. So there's our outline for the skirt with gathered waistline. Anytime I have gathers, because any waistband that we add, which I would use here, the narrow waistband that we used on our added flare, you know that that's going to fit the wearer exactly. But anytime I have gathers, I want to keep the balance of my gathers equal all the way around the body. So I do like to go a little notch happy here. So I always like to place one notch dead center. So remember, this is side seam to center front. So on your waistband, you will want to mark your side seam in the center front. And then I like to mark a point within there. And then just so I have 1/4 point notches, I like to go ahead and mark again, center of here and the center portion from here. Just gives you the best odds for a well-balanced gathered skirt. And doing that will also help you keep your side seam from wanting to shift. You know the drill. We're going to trace this. We're going to add our 1/2 inch seam allowance, side, front, and top. And then when you have the gathered skirt, this alleviates such a drastic shape and flare. So you have a little more freedom with your hem allowance here, but I would like to go ahead, and this is personal preference, again, and it can change day to day, fabric to fabric. I'm going to keep a 3/8 inch narrow hem. That's all I want here. I don't need to add any added weight at the bottom hem. I've got a lot of material already that should help pull the drape and weight of the skirt down. So add your hemline. Again, like I said, notches. You can notch the front, your side, and then of course, all of your seam allowances. Note that.